Hi everyone, and welcome to our MSc Student Experience virtual sessions. So in this session we'll be talking to Bachelor of Arts students. We'll have Cliona, who will be representing music, Robin is representing French studies, Colin is representing theology, and Keith is representing history. So we have a nice mix of graduates and of current students as well. So we'll chat about the Bachelor of Arts itself and the various subjects, and we'll also, chat about their general MIC student experience as well. So maybe just to start us off, a few housekeeping bits. If you do have a question for any of our guests here today, you can use the chat function or the Q&A function. You can type in your question and post it, and we might put it to them later on in the session. So just to begin with, we might just introduce everyone. So we might just start off with Robin first. Hi Robin, if you just want to introduce yourself briefly.
Yeah, hi guys, my name is Robin. So I'm just after finishing my final year studying French and English. I am heading for my PME in Galway in UIG this September.
That's great, thanks Robin. Next up, Cliona, I might just get you to say hello.
Hiya, so I'm Cliona and I studied music and English and I finished last year. So I'm doing my first year Masters in Education now in UL to be a secondary school teacher.
That's great. Next up then is Colin.
Hi everyone, my name is Colin. I graduated back in October from the Bachelor of Arts programme with a degree in Theology and Religious Studies and Philosophy. And I'm currently now started my first year in a Master of Arts in Theology and Religious Studies.
That's great. And then finally, then Keith.
Hi, I'm Keith, and like Cliona and Colin, I graduated last year with a degree in Irish and History, and I just finished the first year of a Research Masters in Irish, and I'm transferring to a PhD next year. So that's it.
Okay, so great mix of, as I said, people have just finished their degree, and people who are currently still on the Bachelor of Arts program. So just to start off, we might just, I think we might go to Robin maybe first. And Robin, we might just get your thoughts maybe on how you, I suppose, came to study on the Bachelor of Arts degree, and then I suppose the fact that you're representing French today. Just why did you choose French studies, and suppose what are the great things about the subject?
Okay, so basically, like, I suppose when I was leaving secondary school, I was only 17. Like, I started school when I was really young, so I really didn't really know what I wanted to do. So what I did leaving secondary school for my CEO, I just was like, right, what's my favorite subject? So I just went for arts. I thought it was what would most suit me. So then when I went into first year, I really loved history. I couldn't do it for my leaving cert because of timetable issues. Sorry. So I chose French, English, history, and German. And then I again went for my top two, then going into second year, French and English. Sorry, what was the second question then?
I suppose, yeah, you just said how you came to the degree, and I suppose just what are the kind of unique things about French studies, Robin? Like, is it, I suppose it's obviously a language, it's different to maybe other subjects on the Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah, it also wasn't what I expected, because like when you hear French, you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm just learning French. But you actually learn all about the culture, and you do a bit of literature and theatre, cinema studies. You do a lot of things in French. And I like that it was, the 4-year course, and then for third year you get to go on Erasmus. Like, I went to Reims in France last January. I did have to come home early, but I did love it while I was there. Yeah, so the Erasmus was great, and the classes are really small as well. So there was 14 in our class, and that was including beginners. So when you go into first year, it's okay if you haven't done French before. So when you go into first year, your language classes will be separate from the advanced students, but you will have all the culture classes and stuff together. So when you come into fourth year back from your Erasmus, everyone just joins up and does all their language classes together.
Yeah, I suppose that's great to know that COVID didn't disrupt your year too much, Robin. And I suppose, look, we're all waiting on government and Department of Education advice, and hopefully we'll all be back next year on campus once with a bit of luck. But just on that point, Robin, I suppose if you're a secondary school student now and maybe you're a bit apprehensive about picking French, or maybe you're worried about your standard in the language, like, is that a big thing? Like, does it matter what level you are at, you know, whether you did it for your Leaving Cert or not?
No, it wouldn't really, like, because when you come into first year, if you haven't done it before, you're starting from scratch. Like, they give you the opportunity to start from scratch. Even if you do French, like, I know some students that had done it for Leaving Cert, but they didn't think they were competent enough in the language. So they just started with the beginners. They started from scratch and started all over again, did all the basics. And you do join up with the fourth years, like the advanced students in fourth year. So like you don't miss out, like you end on the same level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does. Yeah, no, that's good advice. If I go to Cleena next, and I suppose Cleena, you're obviously the subject you're representing is music, and look, you might just tell us about why you chose the Bachelor of Arts at Mary Immaculate, and why music. Was it something you always had a passion for, or was it only when you came to college that you decided to take it as a subject?
Yeah, so I've always loved music. It's really been something I've been heavily involved in since I was very, very young. My family would be quite musical, so I was always that way inclined. But like Robin, I was kind of young coming into college. I was 17, and same, I wasn't really sure what I wanted. But I said my two favorite subjects were music and English, and I said I'll go in, I'll try those, and I picked my other two subjects, but I ended up sticking with the music and English. But yeah, I loved music because it was so much variety, we different genres, different time periods, but it wasn't just about listening to music. You also had to do composing, and there were loads of different aspects like that. I actually also got to do an Erasmus, so I went away in my third year to England, and I studied music in Keele University for 3 months. So that was a great experience through music as well.
Yeah, that sounds like a fascinating experience, Cleena. And I suppose a lot of people, you know, might have, I suppose, misconceptions about what the subject music is, Cleena. Like, you know, it's not just traditional Irish music. I presume it's a lot broader and there's a lot more facets to it, maybe, than what people might think, is it?
Yeah, one of the reasons I did pick it was because it wasn't just traditional Irish music, because I would have been like more into musical theatre, and playing more kind of contemporary music maybe would be more of my interest. But they do cover it as well on the course. You do it in second year, I think. So that was one of the main reasons I picked it, yeah, because it was really, really varied, and it was kind of more than just the traditional music, which I really, really liked.
Okay, good stuff. We might move to Colin next. And Colin, you're representing theology today. I suppose how did you get to Mary Immaculate College, and why did you pick the Bachelor of Arts, Colin? And then I suppose in terms of theology, you know, it might be, I suppose, a subject maybe some people mightn't consider for an arts degree. What made you choose it, Colin?
Yes, that's a very good point, actually, Pat. When I was in sixth year before I came to Mary Immaculate College, I knew that I wanted to go to Mary Immaculate College and I wanted to do the Bachelor of Arts degree. It was always my first choice. And actually, originally, my two subjects that I was most interested in would have been history and geography. But I ended up taking history, but not geography. And I ended up actually falling in love with philosophy and theology. They were the two subjects that I ended up taking to my degree level. And the thing which fascinated me about theology was I had some knowledge of theology, as I had people in my family who had done theology already as part of their courses. And so for me, I had a little bit of knowledge about theology when I was going into it. But it is a subject that when you hear people talking about theology, it always sounds like this big, out in the air, you know, kind of big, you know, ivory tower kind of subject, you know what I mean? But there's so much about theology that relates to everyday life and to our experience. And it really is like just a really fantastic subject to do. So if it maybe wasn't a subject that you have maybe considered, I would say definitely consider it as a possibility. And I'm sure the majority of people I know anyways that took theology really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I suppose a lot of people, Colin, I suppose might have misconceptions about the subjects. Maybe, you know, they might think, like, I presume it's not just Catholicism, it's a lot broader. You study lots of different faiths and different things like that, isn't it? I presume it's a lot broader maybe than people think.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So like, for example, in first year, in the first semester, we got to study a lot of different faiths and get an insight into different traditions and things like that. But then as you get further along as well, there is certainly, you go into a lot more than just Catholicism. It goes into a lot more general Christianity, and you do touch into areas of other faiths and traditions as well. So that's like, you get a much broader experience than just, I suppose, Catholicism as kind of people might have conceptions about it from not studying it. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. And finally, Keith, then. Keith, you're representing history. I suppose, how did you, obviously you got onto the Bachelor of Arts degree, and was history always one of the subjects you intended doing, or was it something that you kind of maybe discovered you had a passion for in first year?
No, quite similar to the lads there now. Really enjoyed it in secondary school and at Leaving Cert level, and always knew I wanted to study it. So I went to the Open Day UL, went to the Open Day Mary I, and decided, yeah, pretty much on the Open Day that I was going to go to Mary I to study history and Irish, and loved it in first year, loved it in second year, and loved final year most of all. Yeah, so I always knew I wanted to study history.
Okay, and you mentioned the Open Day in Mary Immaculate there, Keith. I suppose we always advise, you know, prospective students to go to the Open Days. Was attending an Open Day in Mary Immaculate something that really influenced your decision in terms of coming to the college?
Definitely, yeah. So as soon as you walk into the place, you get a feel for a place anyway, and it's very true of Mary I. The Open Day was great because you got to meet people. So I definitely remember talking to some of the lecturers, and there was one or two students there as well, and like that just gave you kind of an overview of what it was about. You got to see what the place is like, meet people. So the Open Day was a great experience, and if they were happening, it would have been great. But obviously things like this are a help as well. So yeah, no, but it was a big factor in my deciding to go to Mary I.
Yeah, okay, good point. Yeah, and I suppose hopefully, obviously, COVID has kind of derailed everyone's plans this year. We've had virtual Open Days, and obviously this is a virtual session today, but hopefully, you know, with a bit of luck, maybe we'll have on-campus Open Days, if not this year, maybe hopefully next year as well. So I might just throw out a few topics to you then. And we might go back maybe to Robin first. I suppose, Robin, for a lot of people, when they're making that transition from secondary school to college, they can find maybe things like assessment and assignments difficult or a big change from what they're used to in secondary school. Do you want to tell us a little bit maybe about your own experience in that area, and maybe what tips you might have to someone who's starting a Bachelor of Arts degree maybe next September?
Yeah, so basically, like, when I started, like, the first semester of first year, like, I found it weird because there was 4 or 5 weeks where you do, like, just classes. Like, they don't ask you to do anything. It's kind of weird. It's a big change from secondary school. You're like, what? I've nothing to do. So you do have to take things on yourself to read up and things like that. But then all the assignments come crashing in, and you might feel a bit overloaded, kind of. But like, I got a diary. I was like, you know, just to keep track of things, like write down your deadlines, write down when you have to do stuff. And I love highlighters. My diary was covered in like a million different colors. But yeah, I found the assessment was continuous. So like, then by the time you came to Christmas, like, they weren't 100% exams. You know, like, you'd have 90 or like, you know, 60% at least done in continuous exams. They break them up into 20-30% exams. So like, that was handy. I thought it was less stressful then by the time Christmas came. Even for summer exams, it was like that as well.
Okay, yeah, I suppose that makes it kind of continuous assessment throughout the semester and end of semester exams. I suppose it's a nice balance, really, isn't it? That you kind of get a chance to the work you do throughout the semester is rewarded.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So maybe you might ask Cleona next. Maybe you might just tell us a little bit about your experience in that whole area, Cleona, how you found it, and any tips that you'd have for prospective students.
Yeah, I kind of found it fairly similar myself as well. I think I only did one exam in my 4 years that was 100% at the end of the semester. I loved the continual assessment. It was great, mostly kind of writing essays and stuff. And I found it was kind of like either week 6 or week 8, as far as I remember, is where it would really start to get busy. And like Robin said before that, it was kind of a little bit easy going, but sure, you could fill your time with different social activities and studying and all that stuff. So yeah, that'd be kind of my advice, and like fill those first few weeks with some of the kind of societies and stuff like that if you have the time.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Get involved, and I suppose the social side of it is very important too. And I might put this then to Colin, just building on the points there from Cleena and Robin. Colin, I suppose what was the major difference you found coming from secondary school into third level? Just never mind just assessment and assignments, was there other things that you found very much, I suppose, maybe challenging, and maybe what advice you might have for students on how to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so one of the things definitely which I felt between secondary school and coming into college was that you definitely have certain amount of independence, in terms of your time, organizing your time, and your kind of where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, and all. And there is a lot more responsibility to that, but sometimes it can be a little overwhelming as well. I remember, for example, when I was in first year, I remember, the idea of having to do an assignment, the first ever assignment I did. I remember getting very kind of hitting a block almost in some way. And I remember I went, there's some really fantastic resources in the college that are able to help you, So I remember I went to the Academic Learning Centre, and they were excellent, in terms of advising me on how to start writing, on how to go about, different stages of putting together an assignment and managing time as well. One of the things as well was that for me, I went to quite a big secondary school. So when I was coming into Mary I being such a smaller college, the size of it wasn't really as big of a thing for me. But I understand if you went to a smaller school, for example, that it might be a little overwhelming. But the great thing is that what I love about Mary I is there's a great feeling of community in the college. And for me anyways, I certainly felt like there was a feeling of, in the first few weeks, feeling at home, feeling really contented and really happy with the place and everything. So my advice definitely would be for people that if you do need any help or anything, that there's some really fantastic supports out there in the college, and that everyone in the college is really nice, and they'll always be really happy to help you out.
Yeah, I think that's great advice that you gave, Colin, and I'm glad that you mentioned the Academic Learning Centre. I suppose that is a wonderful support for our students. If you're just finding it a little bit difficult to adjust to, I suppose, writing essays and assessment at third level, they do offer great support, great tips and advice, and also in terms of exams as well, help you manage your time and different things like that as well. Might go to Keith next, and I suppose just building on what Colin and Cleena and Robin have just said, Keith, I suppose for a lot of your assignments you'd be using the library quite a bit, wouldn't you? I suppose. Would you have any advice? I suppose the library might be a bit daunting maybe for some students when you're coming in from secondary school. Kind of might seem, they mightn't really know how to utilize it to its potential. But you might maybe talk a little bit about how you've used the library for your assignments and essays, and how you can make best use of the space.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I remember in first year getting a tour of the library, and that was very useful. Particularly, you'll get to see where the books relating to your subjects are, and you'll know where to go then as well. Now, I think a lot of it now is kind of online. So if you have a book that you need or whatever, you can order it online and collect it. But I do remember meeting a fella in second year and chatting away, and he's saying, "Where'd you get all the books?" And I said, "I know this section." No, up the stairs to the left. You had no idea that there was a stairs in the library. You thought it was just one floor. So it's definitely worthwhile getting a tour of the library and getting a feel for the place. There is 2 floors, and most of the books of history are on the 2nd floor. But yeah, and the staff are very helpful. So I think they do kind of run tours in the first kind of in open weeks and things anyway. So definitely do that. I think we have access to the UL library as well. I was out there a few times just to get books, or even just use the study space as well. Very helpful. And the people there are very helpful. All the librarians, you get to know them all after a bit anyway. So they're all more than happy to source books, and even source books from other libraries and other archives and things if that's what you need. So all very helpful. Again, yeah, like what Colin was saying about the Academic Learning Centre, they're always very helpful to point you in the right direction of, again, how to write or how to improve, more importantly. And your lecturers are a great source of information as well. So they might have stuff to read on their Moodle pages or lecture notes. And then indeed, if there's stuff that's in the library, they'll point that out, reading lists and things. And if they're not, they'll say, well, you can get it at Google Books or JSTOR or whatever. But yeah, the library is a great asset, and definitely worthwhile using.
Yeah, that's some great points that you made there, Keith, and particularly, I suppose, there's such a huge wealth of information online now, like you mentioned. You know, other people have mentioned in previous sessions things like JSTOR. Now a lot of books are available, you know, digitally online as well. So I think it's great advice if your first week in Mary Immaculate or during orientation, make sure you do get that library tour and find out that there is actually a 2nd floor to it. It's not just not all the books are just downstairs as well. Might go to Robin next. Just, I suppose, obvious continuation there from what Keith was saying. Robin would be, you know, a lot of students maybe when they're after coming in from secondary school and they start in first year, and you know, like you were saying there, those first kind of 5 or 6 weeks can often feel maybe a bit maybe not confusing, but you're kind of not really sure what you're meant to do or where you're meant to be. And I suppose, you know, some people might, you know, you might be having difficulties just, you know, just with your assignments or whatever it is personally, or just with, you know, just adapting to college life. Would you have any kind of tips or advice for students, or are there any particular services in the college that you'd recommend that can help them?
Well, I know the chaplaincies there, and like even to just go and have a cup of tea and stuff, it's great to meet people inside there. Like if you're not sure what to do classes wise, the lecturers are always there to help. I would just say, like, when it's your first day, don't be afraid to say hi to the person next to you. They could end up being your best friend, you know. Go around, try and have a smile on your face, approach every day positively, you know, take it every day as it comes, and don't get too stressed, because it's everyone's, you know, first couple of weeks, first years wise. Everyone's in the same boat as you, and there's no need to get stressed because everyone makes mistakes. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's great points, and might put that to you, Cleena, as well. You know, what advice would you have if someone is struggling academically or personally? What advice would you have for them, or, you know, any supports in the college that you know you'd recommend?
Yeah, like I never actually really availed of many of the services myself, but I do know they have counselling in there if you're really struggling, and you can go on and talk to someone in there. I would also recommend really talking to your lecturers, because, you know, they're there for you, they're there for the students, and they want you to do well. So, you know, they're going to do everything they can to help you. And if you're struggling, more often than not, you can just talk to them and just tell them how you're feeling. But yeah, most importantly, I think it's to surround yourself with people who do support you, and to, you know, to have your friends there by your side. Same thing as Robin was saying, go in, talk to people. I know it's very intimidating, especially because I had the 2 subjects, music, which is a very small class, and then English, which was like 200 people. So it'd be a bit intimidating going in there, sitting down, talking to a stranger, like, but, you know, people like to be spoken to, and they like making friends. So I definitely recommend doing that as well. Just have a nice group of people around you, and you should be grand.
Yeah, that's really sound advice, Cleena. And I know you mentioned the counselling service there, and Robin mentioned the chaplaincy. Like, so there are supports there that are, you know, they're free, they're confidential. You can have a chat, and you know, whatever issues you're having, or if you just need someone to chat to, that support is there. So, you know, do avail of it. And, you know, staff and, you know, colleagues in Mary Immaculate, they're always ready and willing to give an ear and just listen to you. Colin, you mentioned obviously that you used the Academic Learning Centre. So was there anything else, you know, any other service in the college that you availed of, or what, you know, advice or tips would you have for maybe incoming first years?
Yes, absolutely. I found the Academic Learning Centre to be a great use of help. But if anyone is, as you were saying, you know, having any issues regarding academic, personal issues, a really great starting place, if you're not even too sure where to go to, would be the MISU, the Students' Union. They're really excellent. They're a mine of information, and, you know, any issues you might be having, they'll be a really excellent point to go to, because they'll have different services that they can tell you about, and that you can hopefully find your way from there. And I also I came in through the DARE scheme originally into college, and so I know that there'll be a lot of people who'll be coming in through either the HERE or the DARE scheme. And so I had supports from the Access Office. They were really excellent as well, very helpful, and just a great point of contact as well if you're ever having any issues. Counselling service as well is also really excellent. If you're having any personal issues with them or anything like that, you know you could go, and that there's someone that you could talk to, that there's even just an ear to listen, you know, and that's a really important thing if you are having issues, that you can have that service, that you know that I can go here, it's a safe place, I can talk to someone, and hopefully anyways it can help brighten up your day and brighten up your experience as well. And I think that that's a really excellent service. And also as well, you know, if you're doing arts, you know, there's the arts office as well, who would be great from a academic point of view as well. You know, a lot of people there very helpful, would be, you know, very glad to help you out to make your college experience as kind of as supportive and as, you know, as positive as possible.
Yeah, that's very sound advice, Colin. And, you know, the Access Office that you mentioned there, they are really excellent. You know, they're always on hand to lend any support that a student requires. You did mention the Mary Immaculate College Students' Union, so I might just put this to Keith. I suppose we always encourage students, Keith, to get involved with clubs and societies, and particularly with the Students' Union as well. You know, would that be something you would advise prospective students to do, get involved with the Students' Union? A lot of people interact with it in numerous different ways, Keith, I suppose, throughout their undergraduate degree.
That's right, yeah. It's actually not something I got involved with a whole pile myself, and that's actually something I probably regret not doing. But there's great opportunities. One of the most obvious ways to get involved would be being a class rep. So every class and every year would have a representative, and I think they all kind of get together then with president and vice president. There's various other members of the Students' Union to have meetings, and any issues that are raised get discussed. And students, again, just mention, you're all talking about the various supports. That's another support that the college does have, are the class reps. So if you have a particular issue in a module or whatever, you can bring it to your class rep, and they'll bring it to the Students' Union and so on. And they liaise then with the academic staff, the administrative staff, and so on. So yeah, it's a very worthwhile thing to get involved in, I'd say. Like I say, I'm sorry I didn't do more of it myself. Friends of mine did do it, and they got great stuff out of it, and it's a wonderful experience. Anyway, and like that, it's that other social aspect of college that is important, not just the academic side, but a social side, and a side with a bit of responsibility to it as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend it if you're interested in that kind of thing. And yeah, no, it's like I say, it's another great asset to the college.
Yeah, thanks very much, Keith. Yeah, there's some very good points there. We have a couple of questions, so look, I might just put them to you. Maybe we have a music question, so maybe Cliona, I might put this to you as our music expert today. One of our listeners, they want to know, if you take music, will I learn about composition and arrangements, or is it just theory? Will I get to perform?
You actually get to do all three. You do a good bit of composition and arrangement. You do it as early, yeah, you do it in every year. So they have aspects of all three throughout. They do have theory, but they also have like we should have had, I think, a 50% performance element to our final exams, and we ended up having to record that at home and send that in, you know, due to COVID. But yeah, you do get to do the performance, and we did a final composition, and they basically work you up so that you're able to complete you know, several pages of composition by the end. But yeah, they start you off easy anyway, but you do get to do all of the aspects to do with music.
Yeah, good stuff. Next question then, I might put this to you, Robin, and it's not a trick question or anything. This person wants to know, what is your favorite thing about Mary Immaculate College?
My favorite thing, I would say the small classes. Well, for me anyway. Like English was a massive class. There's over 100 of us, 150 I'd say. But there was only 14 of us in French, and we're all really good friends. And I know some of them are going to be friends for life. And we just got really close, especially in the last year and a half when we were all online. So yeah, small classes I really loved.
Okay, good stuff. And I might put that to you as well, Keith. What was your favorite thing about Mary Immaculate College?
I don't know. I enjoyed the whole lot of it, really. I mean, yeah, exactly like Robin was saying, you do meet wonderful friends, and like that, there will be friends for life. And you do meet, I mean, the academic staff there are brilliant as well, and it's great to be able to work with them. Like, you know, if you're doing research essay or your undergraduate dissertation, or even work with people in the library, you meet wonderful people all the time. And it's great to work with them at any level. So yeah, tremendous people, to meet great friends, and tremendous people around the place in any case, yeah. Okay,
good stuff. Next question then, we might put this to Colin, because it's I suppose it's kind of a theology question. This person, Colin, they want to know, is it just Catholicism that you study, or do you get to learn about other religions on theology?
Yes, so the great thing about theology is that, as I was saying, in your first year, in the first semester, you get to do about world religions. And so, for example, you get to learn about other really interesting faiths such as Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Sikhism. And then as you go further along, of course, regarding theology, of course, you know, you have a First Testament and a Second Testament, and First Testament was based in Judaism. So as you go along, you do certainly, and you also, if you do, like, for example, critical issues in modern religion, you can't do that without talking about other faiths, you know. So it isn't just Catholicism, whilst, of course, it is Christian theology. So there is that, whilst that is a major aspect of it, it isn't just Christianity that you're looking at, or it isn't just Catholicism. You get to, it's so much broader than that. And if anyone is thinking about, you know, oh, I'm a little apprehensive about doing theology if it's all just going to be about Catholicism, it isn't just all about Catholicism. There's a lot more to it. And if you have that question, I would say definitely give it a try.
Yeah, very sound advice there, Colin. We have another music question, so Cliona, I might put it to you again. This person wants to know, are there music societies that you can join?
Yeah, there's actually loads. I definitely found MIC is a very music-centered college. It's a big part of the community there. So I actually was in Midas while I was there, which is the Drama and Musical Theatre Society. So basically you can do plays if that's kind of your vibe, or they have big musical ones here. They also have the Live Music Society, where this is, I think it's kind of like busking and stuff like that, but you'd often see them playing in the Tower building, kind of the main section of the building. You can hear them playing music, and they do different events like that. There's also a Trad Music Society, and there is the choir, which is actually run by one of the music lecturers, and you can actually, I think, do that as part of one of your modules. So it's there's loads and loads of places to actually perform music in the college. Oh, and there's My Dance as well, the dancing society. Yeah.
Yeah, no, great. You've mentioned a couple of different options there. If music is your thing and you're looking to, I suppose, get involved with like-minded people, help you settle into college. Maybe final question then. We've kind of covered this a little bit already, but I'll put it to you, Robin. One of our listeners, they just want to know if they're struggling with assessments where can they get help, or you might give them some advice maybe based on your own experience.
Well, personally, like I found that the lecturers are really helpful. Like if you are seriously struggling, like if you don't want to go up to them in person, they are really nice, all of them, honest to God. But if you're afraid of them or anything, which you shouldn't be, you can send them an email, do you know what I mean? And like they'll get back to you straight away, and like they can give you extra time, or they can point you in the right direction, give you advice on what to do. But there's no need to stress over assignments at all.
Yeah, good advice. And I think Colin and I think Keith have already mentioned the Academic Learning Centre as well. That's always there. You know, if you're really struggling to, I suppose, get used to assessment in terms of what it's like at third level after coming maybe from secondary school. So that is probably, I suppose, we're almost out of time now at this stage. So that might bring this session to a conclusion. For anyone that's watching, please remember that this session was recorded, so it will be available in the next couple of days on our website, www.mic.ie/CEO. So if you want to look back on it there or recommend it to friends, please do so. I'd just like to thank our guests today, to Colin, Robin, Cliona and Keith. I think they've given some great insights, not only just about the Bachelor of Arts programme and their own subjects, but also about student life at Mary Immaculate College as well. So thanks very much to the four of you, and thanks for everyone else who tuned in, and that brings this session to a close.